The Joker has another new angle on crime, and Batman has to move fast against his old enemy to save the day. Batman, the Joker steals the scene. One night, a young man and his girlfriend were strolling home happily, arm in arm. Suddenly, a man appeared in front of them. He was wearing a beret and a monocle and carrying a megaphone. The couple stood still, puzzled. "You two, you're perfect," said the strange man. "Perfect for what?" asked the girl. "For my film," said the man impatiently. "You'll be just right for my film." "Film?" repeated the young man. "Yes, I'm a movie director, and I want you to be in my movie." "We're not actors," the girl said, trying to get past him. "That's why you'll be great. You'll be much more natural." Now the two young people noticed that they were being trailed by rough-looking men carrying movie cameras and a sausage-shaped microphone. "Come with me," said the director, and after a moment they followed him reluctantly down the street to a large jewellery store. The couple stood gazing into the great plate glass window of the store, where diamonds and pearls glimmered in the lamplight. "Now," said the strange director, "you have to pretend that you're a young couple in love." "That shouldn't be too hard," giggled the girl. The director went on, "But your boyfriend can't afford to buy you a ring, so he's forced to steal one for you. He takes this brick and smashes the window with it." "Hey, what kind of film is this?" asked the young man. "It's a crime story with a romantic triangle," said the director. "Triangle?" "Yes, you two and those jewels. Go ahead, break the glass. It's just imitation glass, a special effect." The man threw the brick, and the window collapsed, sending splinters of glass all over the pavement. "Realistic, isn't it?" said the director. "Now, grab the jewellery and toss it to us." The young man was still not sure what was happening, but he grabbed the precious gems from the window display and threw them to the rough-looking men, who put them in the van. "That's it, boys. Collect those props," sang out the director, going towards the van. "What do we do now?" asked the young woman. "Just stand there, hold one of those rings, and gaze into his eyes. We're going to drive off and get a long shot of you from the van's roof-mounted camera. A real long shot." Batman paced Commissioner Gordon's office, listening to his story. "They swear that they're innocent, but they were told that they were making a movie," said the commissioner. "The whole thing sounds quite unbelievable," said Batman. "I know. That's why I decided to call you in, because it isn't the first time. It's been happening all over Gotham City." "Is there a description of this so-called director?" asked the Caped Crusader. "They couldn't get a good look at his face," said Gordon. "But the last couple did mention that he seemed to have very pale skin." "Sounds like the Joker," mused Batman. "I wonder." Meanwhile, elsewhere in the city, "It's all very simple," the director said, impatient as ever. "Just keep piling this imitation dynamite in front of the door of the bank vault." "Then what?" asked the timid young man he was talking to. "Then? Why, then you light the fuse, of course." "But there's an awful lot of dynamite here," said the young man nervously. "Won't this make a huge explosion? I don't want anyone to get hurt." No, said the director. "Listen, we need a lot of dynamite, just for show, but it's phony. Now, action!" The timid man lit the fuse with shaking hands. He had every right to be frightened. The dynamite was real. The bank vault was real. The robbery was real. And these were criminals. Real criminals. Batman was patrolling the city in his Batmobile. As he passed the Gotham Bank, he saw signs of breaking and entering. When he went inside, he saw the gang of criminals trying to persuade an innocent man to help with their robbery. Any moment now, the man was going to be blown up. There was no time to lose. The lit fuse was growing smaller and smaller. Quick as thought, Batman swung his batarang and sliced the fuse in two. Once separated from the dynamite, the fuse couldn't set off the blast. The batarang flashed back to Batman's hand, and he tossed it again. This time, it struck the director, knocking the disguise from his face. Batman's worst fears were realised. The director was the Joker. "Drat that Batman!" shouted the villain. "Set the remote control timer of the explosives right now!" "It'll blow in 10 seconds, yelled one of the Joker's henchmen, and the criminals ran in panic, forgetting all about their robbery. Instantly, Batman swung over to the scene on the bat rope and snatched the young man up with one arm. They swung to another room and dropped behind a wall lined with safe deposit boxes. "Get down!" Batman commanded. The explosion was as bad as an earthquake. There was a low rumbling noise, and the walls of the bank shook. When Batman and the young man he had rescued entered the vault room again, they saw what the blast had done. Charred currency was everywhere, and the steel vault door was hopelessly bent and broken. "That could have been us," said Batman. The timid man spoke up. "If that's what it takes to be an actor, I'm not going to bother," he said. A few days later, the Joker was up to his tricks again, this time directing a film at an art gallery. When he looked around for actors, a man with a mustache and a beard stepped forward. "Please," he begged, "I'd be great. I'd be a hit. I just know it." But the Joker was suspicious. He had figured that Batman might show up, in disguise. Why not turn the tables on Batman and trap him instead? "Makeup!" screamed the Joker. "Get this man into makeup!" A giant powder puff, filled with sleeping gas, hit the bearded stranger and knocked him out. The Joker's henchmen tied him up and dragged him off. Not long after, when the Joker was alone, another man approached him. "I'm from the Film Festival Committee," this man explained. "We think your work deserves an award." He handed the Joker a trophy, shaped like a silver rocket. The Joker was flattered. "You like me!" he cried. "You really like me!" He held the silver statuette proudly. Suddenly, the silver award started shooting off sparks like a Roman candle and took off into the air. "What's this?" shouted the Joker. "What do you think it is?" said the man, shedding his own disguise. It was Batman himself. The silver rocket sputtered around the room, flying this way and that. The Joker was so confused that he couldn't take his eyes off it. This gave Batman all the time he needed to slam into the Joker's henchmen. He subdued one and used him as a battering ram to knock down the rest of them. Then the Caped Crusader rescued the man they had tied up. This was an undercover cop who had posed as the bearded stranger. At last, the silver award fizzled out. "Cut!" the frazzled Joker croaked. "Somebody! Cut! Please!" "Glad to," said Batman, giving the villain a final knockout punch. "It's time to write the end to your film career, Joker."